is we talk about guys that would like to move to the Philippines, but for this or that reason, valid reasons, they just can't. Could be they still have minor children, they have aging parents to take care of, they have child support obligations that make it just impossible to live anywhere else. There's a lot of good reasons, guys that want to come out here, live full time in the Philippines, but they can't. Now, there's an in-between solution that a lot of guys do kind of like take advantage of, and it's the part-time. They spend part of their time in their home country and part of their time in the Philippines. They, either for work reasons or whatever, that works out best, or even financial. I have a buddy of mine, and he prepared for about 2 years to live in the Philippines, and so he's been enjoying the Philippines for the last 2 years, and recently was laid off from his remote job, which they were okay with him working here in the Philippines. By the way, do a Google search on remote jobs. There are companies who have no problem with you living abroad. As long as you have a decent internet signal, they'll employ you as an employee. This is not gig work like Fiverr or anything like that. It's actual companies, I don't know, benefits, whatever, but it's a regular job. And so that's what he was doing. But then he found out about 3-4 weeks ago, they gave him a notice. It's like, well, you're being laid off. So since his other online income wasn't enough to live here, what he's going to do is, in fact, tomorrow, he's going to catch a flight back to the United States. And he's already formulated a plan, and what he's going to do is work hard in the States, generate a lot of money. He's a contractor. He's able to do a lot of home repair type work. He's going to forfeit the idea of an apartment in order to save more money. So what his plan is, and this is something that I've seen for like the last, 4 years, a growing trend. At first, it was once, very few people doing it. Now it's like an entire movement. And what it is people living out of their car. Now it's actually become, like I said, like a movement. You can find car living, van living, websites, but mostly also on YouTube, people sharing their adventures and how to, fix certain problems and, the whole thing, how to optimize the whole car living thing. And a popular choice is the Prius because it's run by electricity. And so when you're parked, you can run an electric cooker on it. It's got a lot of advantages, heater, air conditioning, all that. There are even accessories available where you pop the back hatch, and you can attach a tent and an extender. So that's what he plans on doing, I believe, for a couple of years, save up just a boatload of money, and then he can come back. Now, that's probably not a solution for most people. He's a single guy, so he can just do it, and make it happen. Now, for other guys, I have another buddy, and what he has done for years is 6 months in, 6 months out. He comes to the Philippines. He's able to do enough ESL work. He has years of experience with it. I believe like 9-10 years of experience as an ESL teacher. So he's got that in his favor. Plus, he has a college degree, which is pretty much mandatory now just to even apply. So he's able to make money to provide for himself doing that. But like I said, before you go thinking of just rushing into that, he is established. He has worked for several of the major ESL online schools for years. Plus, he has done what we call in-class, where you're physically teaching English to a class of students right in front of you. He's done that as well in Vietnam. And so for him, 6 months in, he's working here online, doing ESL, English as a second language. And then the other 6 months, if he needs to, he'll go back to the States, and he's very resourceful. He will go back to the States, and within a day or two, he's already pipelined in front of him a job. And for the 6 months, he works, makes US dollars, saves up his money. He took one job where actually the room and board was included, and that saved him a ton of money. He's worked as a bus driver. He's worked for Amazon warehouse. I mean, he is not afraid to work, and he will save his money, and then he comes back to the Philippines or Vietnam, sometimes Cambodia. So that's another way to do it. Now, I've spoken with many, many expats over the years, and what they do, the typical expat will get, let's just say, 2 to 3 weeks of vacation a year. Once a year, they come in for 3 weeks. That's great if you want to just kind of get a feel for the place and have a vacation. As I've said before, the danger is when you try to develop a romance within 3 weeks. It's basically not only a dead end, it's a money pit waiting to happen because your emotions get involved. 3 weeks, you might know somebody, a woman for a Filipina for say 2 weeks of that 3 weeks. And then you go home, you've developed this connection, and next thing you know, you're feeling emotionally on the hook to help her with her problems, real or imagined. So you can imagine how bad that goes. Now, some guys, whether they run their own business and they have managers in place, what they can do is come and stay for, say, 3 months at a time. And they might even be able to do 3 months twice a year. And for these guys, that's a pretty good gig. Again, it's all a matter of, do you own your own business, take your own time off? Maybe you can manage some of the business online, so that's another part-time sort of solution. What some guys do is they will make, say, a 2-week visit every 4 to 6 months. And they're married to a Filipina here, but for financial reasons, they have to continue working, in their own home country. They're not on a pension or Social Security yet, but they are married to a Filipina. And I know one even has kids, and they spend the majority of their year in their home country working. And then they come and visit every 3 to 4 months, spend a couple weeks with the wife and kids, and go back to work with the idea that once they reach their pension age, well, then they can move here full time and be together. Now, I know that that's not ideal. I always keep in mind many Filipino families. So what they do is they will work OFW, overseas foreign worker. And when they sign a contract, it's often for 3 years. And it's got its pros and cons. I mean, on the one hand, it's a way for many Filipino families to earn money abroad, usually out in like the United Arab Emirates area. Some go to China, some go, just different countries. There's pros and cons to that. There's abuse, different types of abuse that happen, financial abuse, not getting paid all of their wage, just different things that happen. But for the majority of them, it does work out, and they're able to send money home that they can't earn those wages in the Philippines. Those kind of jobs exist, but, you're not going to get paid, say, $500-$600 a month as a nanny in the Philippines. It's just not really going to happen. A lot of the men will work for kind of like a merchant marine sort of thing or overseas construction. I have a brother-in-law that he's a crane worker, and he works at a shipyard, I believe in Dubai, and he's able to, do the big giant crane with the shipping containers, So he makes pretty good money, but the sad reality is that he's going to be gone for 3 years. So his baby that was 1 year old when he left, he's going to be 4 years old when he gets back, done with his contract. And there's usually not enough time or allowance for them to, come and visit every 6 months. It's just not included in the deal. So that's kind of brutal. So when I hear of expats who decide, well, they're going to work 6 months out of the year, spend 6 months in the Philippines, or they're going to have a family and they're going to visit them every 4 months. I know by American standards or Western standards, that's kind of crazy, but not when you compare it to the OFW situation. So I hope that gives you just, maybe it'll generate within you some thinking outside the box kind of ideas, and maybe there's a solution there for you. Just instead of saying, well, I can't move there full time, I guess I just won't go. Well, take an exploratory 1-week vacation, Most people can pull that off, or look at how resourceful are you when you're in your home country to scramble up some good paying work and save your money and then spend, even if it's 2 months, 3 months, 6 months in the Philippines, maybe that's the ticket for you. So love to hear your feedback there in the comments. If any of these ideas appeal to you, we'll see you there in the comments, and we'll talk more about that there.